Saturday night, millions and millions of people watch the Portland Trailblazers beat the Charlotte Hornets. This is not fake. 141-88.
It's the biggest win in franchise history, right?
Now you have, on that note, you have this fun fact. This would be a great trivia game that you play at a random cider house on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Chauncey Billups has 3 of the franchise's 5 worst losses ever, and now he has the largest margin of victory in franchise history. Has there been a weirder stretch for a head coach with an organization maybe to ever exist in that sport than what the Chauncey Blazer era will end up being by the end of it?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, they had a game this year that they lost by 50? Or am I thinking of last season? Do they have a 50-point L on their books this year?
Ooh, let me look.
I believe they do.
I think they do.
Because we had a listener that asked the question, is he the first coach? Are they the first team to ever lose a game by 50
and win a game by
50 in the
I will
same
say
year?
yes.
It has to be,
I'll
right?
give you a hot take, yes.
There can't be any other team that has that level of swing. There's only one rational takeaway from this game, and that is, dear God, Charlotte. Dear
Do you want a tank?
God.
That's what the...
Dear God. I mean, if they get Cooper Flagg, they'll be laughing in our face, but, we'll see how
Flagg
that
with
plays out in
Melo.
the summer.
Flag with LaMelo and
And whose stock would you buy in the next 5 years?
Oh, don't do that.
I mean, I will do that because,
I'm trying to look up if a coach has lost by 50
and won by 50 in the same
50.
year. It just it's hilarious. Absolutely. I was in the middle of moving this weekend, so I didn't see a lot of the game, but I just every time.
You shouldn't watch the Charlotte Hornets, to be fair.
No, I had no
They
interest in watching the
so
Charlotte
bad.
Hornets to begin with. The Blazers lost their first game in the second half. This was a win. You knew they were going to get a win. Charlotte beat L.A. in that makeup game. That was kind of a second half game, but not a second half game because it was a replayed game from the L.A. Fires. So they won that. I mean, that was Charlotte's win. When you're 14-41, you're getting about one win every week and a half. They used their one win up in a Mark Williams revenge game in Los Angeles. They wanted no business in being in Portland. The weather was terrible. LaMelo was awful. They wanted nothing to do with that game, and their performance on the floor showed it.
Some on the streets are asking, does Chauncey win Coach of the Year if they get into the play-in?
Oh, God. I don't see a 50-point. I'd see 2 40-plus point losses,
Not
but
quite
I don't
50.
see a 50. They
Well,
lost
he had
by
a 60-burger last year.
Last year he did. I think they had multiple 60 burgers
last
last
year was awful. They lost by 45 to Memphis.
Okay. Now, is he the first to ever have a 40-point loss and a 40-point win?
Is it crazy to think how much of a blur the last 2 seasons have, melded in my mind? Especially before their little hot streak, their 10 of 11. You could tell me they've lost a game by 60 this year, and I believe you, and then you go, no, it was last year, and I go, okay.
All right.
Feels like kind of the same thing, but they have played better basketball this season.
They opened
for the last 3
season
weeks
losing by 36 to the Dubs.
They did.
That's how the season started.
Right.
Yeah,
I remember that game.
That was opening night. Catch fever.
I would say
But
this,
Scoot had 22.
but he's not good enough to start. I would say this
I
run.
got Shaden still only got 21 minutes and a 50-point win.
This run has really killed both sides of the argument against and for. The people that argue Chauncey's not as bad as you say. It's the Jimmies that chose. We have a lot of history and track record that says, Bob, you're wrong. The people that say he's the worst coach to maybe ever exist. Last 3 weeks, Bob, you're wrong. I don't know where we're at. I think both those people are wrong.
I'm waiting for the news alert of a contract extension at any moment.
Oh,
at this
Aaron
point.
Fentress has already written that one up, wondering aloud, has he earned another year?
Look how much they've improved. Look at the development.
Would
Look
he
at the
wanna come
direction
back?
they're going. I don't think that he would, but
That's the piece that I think is being underplayed.
This has not gone well largely for him, but they're playing to be fair to his credit.
let's see how this road trip goes. Let's take a deep breath and see how this road trip goes.
Well, you walk through the road trip. Go ahead, Swag. Do it.
They've been a much different team on the road than they have been at home.
7-game, 12-day roadie. There's only one back-to-back.
What's your best guess on how many they get? Because I'll give you mine out loud.
They ease into it at the Jazz, at the Wizards, at the Nets.
There's 3 straight to start the roadie.
Sunday afternoon at the Cavaliers.
Probably a loss.
That's a loss.
Is that an early Sunday game?
12:30.
That is the
Pacific
prototypical
time.
Blazer Sunday afternoon. Hey, it's great to have early. Oh my God, what's happening right now?
That one's on NBA TV for the entire nation to see.
Look at us.
Except us here in Portland.
Oh, touche. That's right. The NBA League rules.
That'll be blacked out in our market.
So
that one will actually be on KATU, I'm guessing.
Okay. I'll just say that's a loss. Okay. So now you're 3-1 on your
So
road.
then you got a back-to-back at Philadelphia Monday night.
How's Philly looking, by the way? Do you want to talk about the Sixers today and how Joel Embiid hates his team and the team hates him? And
Yeah, not very good.
they're actually going to have better draft odds.
I'd just
than
like
us?
to point out for the Jazz game, too, we did lose by 42 points earlier this season to the Jazz.
That was a different team, man.
Okay.
Just a different team.
That was like 2 months ago.
That might have, yeah, well, that was a
Yeah.
long. How long ago? Was 2
At
months?
home. That was at home. That was a 42-point loss
Different
at
team.
home to the Utah Jazz.
I would just like
different
to team.
Would like to point that out.
Different team. The
Okay.
Jazz have really leaned into that skid, that tank.
The next time
That
we played
is
the Jazz
true.
about a month ago, we only beat them by 2 at home.
Would you like to bring up what the Jazz have done the last 3 weeks
No,
and
I
what we've done the last 3 weeks?
No, I would not.
We're going to win that
Because
game.
this is really depressing.
Okay,
And
Sixers,
then-
2 straight wins.
And then it stiffens up at Boston,
Loss.
at Oklahoma
Loss.
City.
Okay.
We also
And then-
lost by 20 points to Brooklyn earlier this year at home, too.
Yeah, again, you're highlighting
That was 1 month
different
ago.
team.
That was 1 month ago, right before the 10 out of 11 started.
Right. It's a different team.
I'm just saying, you're
Why can't
acting
you
like
guys-
these are automatic wins, and I'm telling you, nothing is automatic on the road.
And
Then
I'm
you come
saying-
home for the Pistons, who have figured some stuff out, and then you're at Golden State on a back-to-back.
Yeah, red hot Golden State.
Yeah. So that whole 9-game stretch there.
So you think they're going to lose one of those 3 games that I
I
labeled as
absolutely think
gimmies?
they'll lose one of the
Yeah.
first
Beer
3
bet?
games of the road. Sure, I'll beer bet that.
Okay.
They'll lose one of the first 3 games of the trip. At best, I'll say 2-5. 2-5 roadie.
Okay.
2-5 roadie.
I'll say you're 4-3.
Okay.
4-3
That would
roadie.
be what are we doing, man?
Might could be 5 because you could win both against Sixers, right?
What are we doing?
Yeah, that'd be
There's
5.
only one against the Sixers.
Oh, okay. I thought you said there was a back-to-back. That's my bad. Okay.
No, well, it's a so they play Sunday in Cleveland and then Monday night
and a
in
back-
Philly.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
we finally get the back-to-back, which takes a little bit of that advantage away against Philadelphia, who,
Dude,
yes, is a dumpster
Philly
fire.
is so
They are so bad, but that is a
I
second of a
see
back-to-back.
3 and 4
Okay.
on the road trip.
3 and 4.
We
would
are
still,
11 games below 500 on the road this year.
Yeah, we're not very good on
We're
the road.
horrible on the road.
But 3 and 4 would beat your 2 and 5.
That would beat my 2-5.
Boy, I'm just racking up beer bets.
I'm just
against this
praying
guy.
for 2-5.
He's gonna owe me a
Please,
six-pack soon.
for the love of God, give
I
me a
look for them
2-5
to
road
be
trip.
refreshed. Them,
Same.
tonight.
Yep.
Utah's really leaning into the
Dude,
skid.
Utah is
Washington
trying
is a
to
total
lose.
disaster.
The bad.
Jealous.
But
man.
Brooklyn,
I'm so jealous.
you're in the
Brooklyn's
city.
Brooklyn's doing the East Coast version of you. They should
Yeah.
be tanking, but they're
Jazz
not.
won their last game against the Rockets, by the way.
Okay.
I don't
They're
see
2-2
I don't
in their
see the
last
Nets
4,
game
including a
going
win over
well.
the Lakers.
I'm glad you're finding out about the Utah Jazz in the last 4 games.
Yes.
I mean, you're acting like they haven't won a game in a month and a half. They just
when
won
was
their
the last time
game.
the Blazers were a road favorite? They are 4.5-point favorites tonight on the road.
Oh, buddy, we lay in the house on the Blazers.
Give me the Jazz with the points.
Oh, God. I don't know how much of this is your hot take, just opinion, versus like you just throwing this out, hoping it comes.
This is a
to
hopium.
fruition.
This is a hopium take. For the love of God, what are we doing? This is like, okay, you had your 10 out of 11 stretch. The Hornets are terrible.
I was told the water was being turned off.
At
Bob.
what point is the water going to get turned off?
Water's being cranked.
We're going in the opposite direction.
I feel like
I mean, if
Chauncey.
you
I was
look-
at least slightly hopeful because they lost to the Lakers in their first game of the second half without Luka, and the 40-year-old LeBron had 11 turnovers, but he had 40 points on
They
you.
almost came back and won that.
They almost came back and won that game, but it was like that was a game that they probably win in most cases without Luka, but they found a way to lose. Slightly encouraged by
If you
that.
look at the rest of their schedule, there's 12 games they could win.
Yes.
There absolutely is.
They're
This team
going
could
to
win
end up
34
with the
games.
top spot just outside of the play-in, which is literally the worst spot to be in, but I digress.
I would say you're not enjoying then.
No,
if you
I'm
think
not
it's
enjoying
the worst spot.
I'm not enjoying
Because
any
this
of
means
this.
they took a big step
I'm not
this
happy
year.
at all.
Don't you want to see a young team grow dirt? They're the youngest team in the league.
You know how you take a big step in the NBA?
You keep winning.
You find a superstar.
Oh, they got one.
Who?
Tamani Kamara. Let's talk about him.